Welcome back to the A&R Desk. Today, we will be having conversations and Q&A. No, it's a little different than normal, but we're going to get right into the show. We're going to get right into it. We still going to shake out the way we shake out. Shout out to Miss Jackson jumping on today. First and foremost, shout out to everybody jumping on to the A&R Desk. Today, we're going to have conversations. Tony Brosco, I see you. Sharp, I see you. Today, we're going to have conversations and Q&A. I got a lot of DMs from my last few posts referring to me, which was very interesting. A lot of people asking questions. I actually got someone who asked a question like, what makes you knowledgeable of the things you're talking about? Which is a valid question, especially if you don't know who I am. It's a super valid question. So I most definitely said, you know what, today I was supposed to have an interview, but that didn't come through as planned with the interview. So today we're going to be doing some questions, Q&A, and I'm going to be sharing a little bit of my backstory, some of the things that people might not know. Magoo, I see you. Shout out to everybody jumping on. I'm actually on the mobile device today, so I get to wave at everybody. Unlike all my other times, enjoy your vacation. Thank you. I actually am enjoying the vacation. It feels good out here, but most definitely got to get the work keep going. So we're going to get into a little bit of that on the show today. And again, feel free to ask questions if there's anything that you want to talk about or no, but I will be touching on a few of the DM questions that I had pertaining to my background. And so forth. Shout out to Tev Shots who just jumped on unapologetically. Shout out to everybody. He said you're getting lit. He said you're getting litty, Spud. Nah. I got this bright light. I got this bright light in my face, and I'm out of my set. You know what I'm saying? I'm comfortable with my set, but it don't matter. Wherever we are, we can make it happen. We can most definitely make it happen. So that's what we're doing today on the A&R Desk. Again, if you have any business questions, consulting questions, industry questions, just go right into, you could ask. We just chopping it up today, and I will be answering some of the DM questions that I did have. Without any further ado, I don't want to hold anybody else up, and I am on vacay. I am tired. I've been ripping and running, but tired in all the good ways. Brooklyn born 80. Shout out to the home team. I see you, Isaac. So I'm gonna go into one of the questions. I have it written down here. Sour MD asked me in a DM, how did I get my start in this industry? How did I get my start? And that start is a long journey, but to make it short, Miss Jackson got a question. Miss Jackson came with the questions ASAP. Let's pause on the Sour MD question and let's go right to Miss Jackson because I don't want to wait. We can always get to my story a little later. And Miss Jackson is here. I don't think Sour's here. So how to work with a signed bidder artist. How to work with a signed bidder artist. To be honest with you, that is a question that is hard to answer because you have to ask yourself, is the signed artist worth it? When you're collaborating with partnerships, one of the worst things I think people do is they look at the opportunity that could, come out of the situation. Whether it's a manager, whether it's a label, whether it's an artist, when there's a conflict of the two, sometimes we look at, oh man, I just want to make the deal happen, or I just want to. And 90% of the times when you deal with a particular artist in that fashion or a partnership in that fashion, it's just a headache that grows and never goes away, and then you regret every second you spent on it. So it's really hard. Shout out to the same hustler, the same hustled rock, I believe that is. Shout out to everybody that's jumping on. So working with an artist, I'm gonna be honest with you. If it's a headache, if it's a conflict, it might be something that you really have to ask how much of it is worth my time. Ms. Jackson said, talk about this artist that blew the deal and now is an ass. I could talk about a lot of artists that blew a deal. And I don't even want to say too much names because they be lurking on the page and they find a way to utilize what been said on different pages to keep themselves relevant. But what I will say is Miss Jackson did come to me with an artist, and I was skeptical about it. I was skeptical about the artist. Not in the sense of his creativity, just in how much work this artist had to do that I would have to invest my time. Miss Jackson said artist X. And Miss Jackson really believed in this artist and started to invest in this artist. I said, what I will do is, since you believe in this artist, I'll do everything that I would like, everything in my power to make sure this happens, right? And I would tell you what to do, and then I could shop it, because that was the plan, to shop this artist. Miss Jackson, again, invested in it. They did a project. She was grooming this artist. We sat and we had Zoom meetings when I was like, this is what you need to do. Some of the things weren't being done. Some of the things were being done. Some of the things were a headache, yada, yada, yada. I end up shopping this artist to two labels, Universal and Sony. And Sony bit back. And there was a lot of things that they didn't see. Shout out to Certified Gauge, one of our winners of the A&R Desk, who just recently had their music submitted to 104.5, just joined us. So shout out to Gage on that. Gage, we also got to set up your interview, and I did get your bio. So shout out to you for sending the bio. But going back to the situation that we shopped to Sony, Sony heard this artist that we shopped, right? And this is where artists have to be careful with social media. It's very important. A lot of times we so expressive and want to say stuff on social media. They told me that they were watching this person's social media, right? And this person goes on social media and starts to say all this bad stuff about Miss Jackson. Even me too, because I think I said something on live about this individual. But they wanted to sign this artist to a development deal, which is something that they don't do. But they don't. Yo, Bez, what's going on, Bez? Yo, Bez, I reached out to J Global. Today was supposed to do the interview. I couldn't reach him. I DM'd him and I called him. If you get a chance, tell him we got to set it up. It was supposed to be today, but I couldn't get a hold of him at all. But it's all good. It's all good. I'm on vacay, so we could even do it better after the year kick in. But going back to this artist, they offered this artist a deal that is rarely happens. They offered him a development deal where he can create music and it will place artists that are signed with this artist and give him a leeway to show. Shout out to Real Booger O. Shout out to everybody jumping on. And he failed to see that this was something that was actual. He was so caught up in just the short term effects of this deal, not knowing that they offered something that they never offered this artist. Peace to everybody jumping on. And he blew that deal. He blew a chance. And then he was hurt. Love Child, San I See You. He was hurt because of, some of the decisions that he made. He took to social media, which still was one of the worst things he could do to hold faces, because they were watching him. They were watching him. And they basically was like, oh, he's a liability. So all the hard work and everything that everyone worked for got put to the shelf because not only pride, but sometimes artists don't understand the process. My man Sincere that's on right now, Love Child. I love when he says, and I might say it wrong. I usually say it wrong, but he says, yo, I wish artists knew that the game didn't work the way they think it is. He says it so much smoother. Shout out to him. I love his growth, but he most definitely says it better. And basically he's saying, the way artists think that this game works, we wish they understood that. It don't work the way 90% of people think this industry works. I'm sorry to say it. And I'm speaking from an industry insider standpoint, as well as an artist standpoint, as well as someone who pursues and pushes engineers and puts out music. It doesn't work the way we think it works. Even the way money is broken down. If anybody saw my Taylor Swift clip or watch the A&R Desk when I mentioned it. Even that situation, I wanted to highlight people. Oh, you should have saw the DMs I got on that. People defending her. You can't defend something that actually happened. And my point wasn't to diss Taylor Swift. My point was to prove that if this person, with all the success, with all the access that they have, all the money that they have, and still could not tie into the deal that they wanted to, there is something that happens in this industry that even having a lawyer sometimes doesn't prevent. That was my thing I was saying. Sincere said it. Sincere, I wish the music industry worked how people think it works. Yes. Most definite. Love you, my dude. Love you. That's exactly what he says. He wished the music industry worked the way people think it does. And it doesn't. It really doesn't. And there's a lot of times when I ask people, is there questions you want to talk about? Is there anything you want to know? I don't think the people, and this was something someone DM'd me. They told me to stop asking people to ask questions. They watched one of my last A&R Desk, I think the very last A&R Desk where I did music review, but you had to ask a question for the music review. And the DM I got back, and this was a person from the industry telling me to stop doing that I wasted my time, that here it is, people had the opportunity to ask the questions that could possibly be beneficial to them, and they didn't dig. And he said that this is the reason why we stray away from a lot of artists, because they don't dig. And that was pretty, it was interesting. It was true that there wasn't a lot of digging, but I also understand it takes a little bit to dig. You got to be a little vulnerable to ask a question that you possibly think everybody knows the answer to. DM the Most, shout out to DM the Most. Shout out to Tyrone, H World. Shout out to everybody jumping on. DJ Sam saying, what is it they don't get? What they don't get about the music industry is, and this is what I'm gonna in shorthand, what people don't get about the music industry is how information is relayed, right? You could Google A&R. You could Google what I need to do. You need to Google, and then they retain this information. People really feel that because they retain this information, this is how the information plays out, right? And my analogy to that is, you can read how to ride a bike right now. If you've never ridden a bike, you could go online, Google, how do I ride a bike? And it will tell you, and it will explain balance, and it will explain the fundamentals of moving one foot before the other, and the steering wheel, and the brakes, and the chain, and it will explain all that. And people get stuck with that, retaining that type of information of riding a bike, and then they'll sit down and be like, I know how to ride a bike. I know how to do that. This is how it got to work. You got to balance. And it don't work that way, because when you get on a bike, just balancing isn't just balancing. You have to put it in play. And this music business, I run across a lot of people who read how to ride a bike. They read it or memorized it, could recite how to ride a bike, and ain't ride a bike. And when you haven't ridden a bike and you just have this information, you don't get it. You don't get it. Especially if you never rode a bike and never fell. Then you really don't know the concept of your true balance until you fall. You know what I'm saying? Or until you feel unstable, then you get it. And that's one thing they don't get about this music industry, how that works. Information is so easy. You could Google anything. And just having the information isn't how it works. It's a start, but it's not how it works. And that's what happens a lot. DJ Sam asks, what is it they don't get? And that's what they don't get about the music industry. They also think that the music industry is just successful music, dope music, fire music, hot music. And it's most definitely not just hot music. You know what I'm saying? Anybody who just jumped on today for the A&R Desk, I was opening up the floor for questions. I wanted to kind of end the year in conversation. There was a few people who DM'd me about my journey and asked some questions. One person asked, how you get in the industry? What makes you capable to say some of the things you said, especially about a lawyer and stuff like that. And, a lot of people don't know my journey. There's people who know me and still don't know some of the things I've been through or experienced in my journey. So I was going to take this time to open up the floor. So if anybody got a question, and when I say if you have a question, it don't have to be a question about me. It could be a question on business, consulting. It could be anything that you have in mind. I was opening up the floor today and having that conversation, kind of getting to that industry in the street atmosphere that a lot of people also DM, ask me would I continue doing that as well. So that's what I wanted to know. That's what I wanted to share with everybody. So please feel free. Let me go back to the feed to see if anybody DM the most said if they don't apply it, it's just a theory. Yes, it's just a theory. And when you apply it, understanding how the mistakes in that work. A lot of the things I learned was because I learned the mistake. I saw the errors, or I made the errors, and then you see how things work that way. DJ Sam said knowledge has to be applied. Knowledge has to be applied. It does have to be applied, but not only does knowledge have to be applied, experience has to be deciphered. You have to decipher the experience. Even if you don't have the true knowledge, deciphering the experience will give you that knowledge. It will give you that insight. There was a lot of things that in my pursuit of this music industry that I had no clue of. I had no clue about. And learning the experience, deciphering the experience, like, oh, wow, that's what happened. I could apply. Now I have this knowledge that I could apply, but a lot of people want to skip the experience and they just Google it or they hear it and then they take it and they have this knowledge with no experience of, so you have to decipher that experience. Sam, Love Child said, why were you rude to me on Christmas when I called you at brunch? The reason I was rude to you, Sin, is because I called you and you dubbed me. That's why. You called me and I called you back. You dubbed me and then you ain't hit me back. So I was rude to you. You lucky you wasn't near me because I'd have punched you. But going back to the questions, DM the Mo said, when you get a buzz, then what's next? That's a good question. When you get a buzz, what's next? To be honest with you, when you get a buzz, you got to maximize that buzz to the key, right? To the core. Now, if you get a buzz, what you want to do is have that ignite all your older stuff or new stuff. You know what I mean? So that's what you want to do once you get a buzz. And it depends on the reach of your buzz. If you got a record that caught fire and everybody's downloading it and all that, you want to push that to its max to create, not only have your buzz, create an interest. When you have a buzz, especially if you have interest, you get leverage because now you have a product that's proven. You have a product that's proven, and that's one of the things that a buzz does. That I don't care how dope your music is or how trash people may feel your music is. If you have a buzz, it creates content for data. If I have a broken laptop, if I have a broken car key, right? If I have a broken car key, it don't matter. If I show that I'm selling broken car keys all day long, 20 a selling, 40 a selling, 50 a selling, it's going on fire. I have proof that I have a product to sell. We get caught up in, man, that's just broke. Well, that's just trash. Well, if you got a buzz, that goes to your proof of product. And you want to maximize that. You want to talk about it. You want to expose that. You want to get people interested in that. And you want it all to relate back to who you are. You know what I'm saying? You don't want a record, and this is one of the worst things about TikTok. We could go into a whole TikTok rant about this, and no one could dispute me on it. But one bad thing about TikTok is people have a product that moves on TikTok, and because it moves on TikTok, they assume that it's good or it's quality, and it doesn't associate back to the artist because it's associated to content. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of the worst things you do. So if you got a buzz, you want it to reroute back to you as you are the person producing the product. So that way people buy into your artistry, not just your product. People just buy into your product. How many songs we heard on the radio, it'll come on and we don't know who that artist is because we're not invested into the artist. We're just stuck on the product. And when you get a buzz, you want to make sure those are associated together. Casual said, happy holidays. So happy holidays to you. Official, same hustled rock. I believe that's how you say it. Excuse me. What's the best way to stay independent but partner with a label? Yo, that my dude. That is an amazing question. What's the best way to stay independent and partner with a label? Now, once you partner with a label, you're not really independent no more, right? You're not. You're not really independent. But you want to keep independent ownership. That's the key to independency. Containing your independent ownership. But once you partner with a company, especially if they're a big brand or a label, you're no longer really independent no more. And most artists have a problem with that because the word independency now runs parallel with I'm not selling out or I'm not. No, you want to maintain your ownership. So if you got a buzz and you got a situation that you want to do a partnership with a brand, the best thing I would do is go like the imprint aspect. And what an imprint does is I get to keep everything that I'm doing. Everything I'm doing, I get to sign artists, and the label or the big company covers my marketing and promo to help expand. With the marketing and promo, I give them a percentage for that work. But we do, because we don't want no creative control from them. Even though in the marketing promotion deal, they probably will ask for some type of ownership or percentage because, they're investing in the product. But I would do an imprint. If I have the leverage to ask, I'll do an imprint or a production deal. The thing with a production deal, a few companies had a production deal. Joe Button, when he was signed to Def Jam, his company was actually signed to Def Jam, who had the production deal. I think it was something like Big Top, Big House. It had a weird name. They had the deal and they signed Joe Button. So Joe Button wasn't really signed to Def Jam, but in marketing, you say that. I'm signed to Def Jam. And what happens as a company, they're the liaison between the label and the artist. So then you can sign and bring other artists on board, protect them because Def Jam has no say to them. They have it directly through you as a production deal. So they sign you as a production deal so you could keep your brand. They're very hard to get because you have to really show proof that you could do it. But if you get a buzz and you get interest, that is a great way to do that. Get a production deal. I know there's a few more questions. Let me just go and try to do major. And this is Sharp just asked this. Do major artists and underground artists have to go through the same things when it comes to doing music? No. Unfortunately, major artists and independent artists don't. And I'm going to give you two examples of why they don't, right? A major artist, he could drop a record, right? And the first thing, if it's trash, the first thing they're going to say is, the beat was cool. Or, he making money. His album sold, though. He's the hottest rapper out right now. Everything a major artist does in the industry is backed by you find the good in it. An independent artist drops something. It's no, the beat was good. You know what it is? And the beat wasn't all that. His album ain't sell much. The negative is the highlight in an independent artist. An independent artist does not have the luxury of getting the proclaim of good when they're putting out music. Everything got to be on top notch. So you at a disadvantage from the gate as an independent artist because the perspective is never finding what's good in what you did. The perspective is always to find what's bad. Always. If you shop in an artist and he's independent, you could tell your cousin, you listen to this, they'll be listening to it like, but you ain't kill it on that second one, man. That first one should have went first, blah, blah, blah. No, but if I was on, they would be like, you killed it on the second one, kid. That same theory, just different perspective. And that's one thing that an independent artist face through this industry completely. Shout out to everybody that's jumped on. I'm just scrolling back to the bottom. Sincere asked the question. He said, can you explain to the people about timing and why reinventing yourself is important? Hence what we talked about based on you doing what you're doing a few years ago. And now, you really have to reinvent yourself, and timing is very important. And me and Sam, we speak a lot about timing and everything. And even take me, for example. As an artist, there was a lot of things that I was doing for my artistry then, right? I was putting out music, recording music, and I made dope music then. Fast forward 15, 14 years later, I started to drop a song every month. And the songs every month started to translate so much more now, because I actually got the time to build and understand who I am, what I want to do, and what's my intent for the song. So timing has a big play, and sometimes we want to fast forward because a lot of times our timing is based on a need. Damn, I need money. Yo, I need it to pop now. I hate my job. And those are all legit reasons to do it. But the intent of why you're doing it is motivated outside of the art. You're always going to have a conflict. Always. This is why even people in the street, when they bust a move because they hungry or something goes wrong compared to someone who says, yo, you know what? I need this long-term situation. I need to change the lifestyles I'm living. So timing and how you apply yourself in the timing is very important. Now, there's ways you can fast forward stuff and there's ways you can implement immediately. But a lot of times, put it this way, whenever you're rushing in life, I don't care if you left your car keys in your house, you got to go to work, you're late for picking up the kids, the store's about to close, the bank, whatever, you miss something. Something is missed. If I'm rushing to the bank because the bank is going to close, you know how many things I passed that I didn't observe? If I'm rushing to pick up the kids, you miss something whenever you rush. Something goes by you whenever you rush. And in this industry, a lot of times we're rushing for the success and not fulfilling the steps in between. And there's so much stuff that we miss, you know. Let me just scroll down and see if I missed any more questions. Different paths. Okay, I appreciate that. Castro 718 said, is that the reason some use pay-by-play? Yes. And I know that question is referring to when I said the independent artists. Yes, that's why independent artists use play-by-play. This is why the independent artist tries to use everything. Sounds X, shout out to you. I'm sorry, I'm just seeing, I'm getting to the bottom of the feed. This is most definitely why artists do that. This is most definitely why artists buy bots. This is why I buy likes. And I had this conversation with somebody and they said to me, yo, buying bots is stupid. And buying bots is not the best way to go, but it has a place. And I'm saying this as someone who had marketed for labels or brands or companies. There is a place for everything. It goes back to the intent and understanding the difference between marketing and promo. There's two different things about marketing and promo. And 90% of us do not market shit. We promote the hell. We saturate the promotion. It's in our story. It's in our feed. We DM it. We don't even use our direct marketing, texting everyone in our phone that we actually know. We'll DM it to 1,000. Every follower that we don't know, we sending it all the way out there. And we have no marketing. We have no one buying into the production of the product. You know, I said this before. People don't buy merch because of dope music. They buy merch because of the artist or the talent. They buy into the talent. You know what I'm saying? Kanye West is one of our generation's great marketings who people buy into his products. They buy into Kanye West, the sneakers. You think everyone wear his sneakers because they like his music or they love his music? No, it's what he built personally. The music enhanced that, but it built it personally. And that comes down to everything you add into your marketing. Everything you do, you have to apply that. So, you know, play by play, it ain't a bad thing. It's how you use it. Paying for a show, it ain't a bad thing. It's how you use it. You know, paying for a feature, it ain't a bad thing. It's how you use it. So it all depends. It all depends. Sin is going in. I love this. Sin said, I'm on some formulas could be used as a fashion aspect. That is true. Sin said, and my boy Sin, shout out to Sin, man. He got a story to tell. That's my business partner. That's my nephew. That's my son. That's my brother. That brother, everything. So we've been day and night doing a lot to pursue what we're doing. So to see him asking some questions, I know these are questions that he want the listener to hear. You know what I'm saying? He's asking me questions that we build on because they're viable. They're valuable to creatives in general. But I'm going to go into his question. I didn't even read it today. He said, what's the biggest misconception people get from your story? The lifestyle ain't free, and it's a lot of sacrifices that people don't know about. Well, one of the biggest misconceptions that people get out of it is that I'm supposed to do some shit for them because I'm in a situation. No, motherfucker. Like, yo, I grunt. Like, all right, today, the 27th. This is the day that I actually came home from prison. December 27th. This is one of my birthdays. This is my 15th birthday as a free man. I only been in pursuit of everything I've been doing for 15 years. What people see and they jump on, they might see 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Some might even push 5 years ago. No, it's been a 15-year pursuit to get exactly where I'm at right now. But then not only do you not see the pursuit, you ain't see the late nights. Guys. I got a whole house full. They didn't see the pursuit of some of the things that we had to do, the sacrifices that we made. There was many nights me and Sim, we was sitting down hustling our thoughts, and it's like, yo, bro, we need a camera. We Googled, yo, how much it costs? $3,000. How much we got right now in the pot? $3,000. Run it to zero. Let's get the camera. We get the cameras. The cameras ain't the ones we want. We gotta bump them. You know what I'm saying? There was some days that people don't, and I'm not talking about like 15 years ago. I'm talking like 5-6 years ago. There's times that me and Sin could even explain this. He could even agree and be a witness to this. There was times that I'm sitting there like, damn, I gotta go grocery shopping. The fridge is kind of empty. The cabinets is light. But yo, we got bread. All right, we gonna thug it out. I'm gonna eat these bread sandwiches, and we're gonna take this bread and do X, Y, Z. Many nights of that. Many nights of the no's. So the misconception is that it's easy. The misconception is that just because I have the access, and I say I mean me and him, but he asked the question, I have the access, that my access is just accessible to anyone who asks. No, I have to use my representation. You know what I'm saying? I have to use my rep. I have to use my trust, my relationships to access these vehicles, these outlets. And I need to know that people are willing to put that energy in. And it's not necessarily that way. It's just a want. And that's extremely one of the biggest misconceptions. I'm just scrolling to the bottom real quick. I'm just scrolling before I ask some more questions, because I don't want people feeling like, yo, Coffee, I see you. All right, I just want to shout out everybody that's going. I was up at the top. All right, so let's go back down to Young DXM, I believe that is. How would a label go about finding the next big artist, like an A-list rapper? All right, this is going to hurt your feelings. This is going to make y'all mad. How a label's going to find you is when you pop off on YouTube or online. I'm sorry to tell you that. It's the truth. If you pop online, the labels will find you. Other than that, it be guys like me and Sin trying to show the labels, yo, look at all these referrals. Look at all these numbers. Let me not put all that out there, though. But look at all this stuff. Look at this person's numbers. Look at this listeners. And we in there vouching, advocating for artists, trying to push to get artists noticed. It's a very few amount of people that do that. And me and Sincere have been doing it for you. We've been doing it to artists that don't even know we did it for them. Artists that we follow and know us personally, that we just say, we're not going to tell them, because when we tell them, they get excited with the hopes that it happens. Let's try to make it happen and push. But the sad part, labels, and they're going to get mad with me, but labels don't do the work. They wait for it to fall on their lap. And it's sad. It's sad, but I got to keep it a buck. And this is why I fight so hard. Miss Jackson said, energy matches energy. That's my favorite thing. Energy matches energy. Coffee said they don't know about the way back when. They don't. Weight Shacks, Iron Man said. My boy Booker O. Lifting bars, spitting bars. Shout it out. That's right. Lifting bars, spitting bars. You got to work it on all ends. I'm kind of speeding through, so if I missed anybody, please forgive me. DJ Sam said, "Time is your ally." It is your ally. Sin said, and y'all, he had the whole 3,000. I've been broke. yo, Sin is stupid. He said, I witnessed it. Yo, Sin, you a fool, man. You're a fool. Some disadvantages is a blessing. Yes, Casual 718 said some disadvantages is a blessing. When it comes to this journey, everything you do is added to what you never heard an artist just say, yeah, it worked out fine. I did my song, it popped, and they liked it. They gave me a deal. They gave me everything I wanted, and before you know it, I was on tour. Nah, it always starts with, nah, my moms ain't believing me. Yo, I was hitting these hole in the wall spots. It's a story. It's a story. All of it helps build character. All of it helps build character. I got another question from Sharp. I don't get why some people think when they friends and they family members start making money, they're supposed to just freely give them money whenever they want it. Yeah, it's messed up. If I did business, whether it's the studio, whether it's consultant, whether it's A&R, if I did business for every friend and family members in that aspect, I would be out of business. That's one of the hardest things you have to realize in business is you look out. You look out for some people because some people have looked out for you. And I never forget that. This is why I do what I do. You know what I'm saying? I remember those times where there was those individuals that went beyond and did things that they didn't have to do. So I always try to implement and, reiterate that in my movements. But you have to understand that if you did everything for free for everyone, there won't be nothing for you because no one's giving back to you. And that's the part that sucks because I had people come to the studio, Gucci belt, Balenciaga's on, every head to toe designer, and they want a deal. So you did not go to none of these stores. You didn't go to Barney. You didn't go to Gucci. You didn't go nowhere and ask for a deal. You paid full price to have it, but you can't do that for your people, your homie. It's a mental conflict that a lot of people have. GJ Sam said, how do you get noticed as a potential A&R or something like that? Now, that's a hard one. That's a really good question, DJ Sam. How do you get noticed as an A&R? One of the key ways to get noticed as an A&R, and about the only true way to get noticed as an A&R, bring somebody that they want to sign. That's it. Find something that they want to sign and you'll be an A&R. There's no schooling. There's no course. There's no nothing. You find someone and you're A&R. For me and Sin, Def Jam had reached out to me about they were looking for a female artist. Sin only whispered to me. And when I say whispered, it wasn't whispered. He spoke to me. He was like, yo, I met this girl at Empanada Mama's. She could sing, blah, blah. He said that to me in a conversation. I remember that. I called Sin like, yo, you got that girl? Def Jam just reached out to me. They're looking for, a Lauryn Hill type of vibe, someone they could possibly write for. Let's have a sit. He said, yeah, I said, set it up. We all sat down in the studio. No lies. We sat down on Monday. We recorded a song on Monday. We recorded a song on Tuesday. We walked into the meeting on Wednesday. I met this girl on Monday. Sin was writing for her. We was getting the producing. I was engineering it, mixing it, and we was walking it in. And we walked it in on Wednesday, and there was the green light. We won her. Boom. We officially A&Rs. We brought someone that they want. There is no questions no more. You cannot take it back. There's no like, oh, you didn't get nobody signed. No. Boom. We officially A&Rs from that. So that's one way, and about the only way to be an A&R is to find an act that they want. And it's sad, but it's true. It's sad, but it's true. Shout out to everybody jumping on. If I missed you, Roach, I see you. Shout out to everybody. I'm finally scrolling back to the bottom. Spicy Beats, bang. All right, I think there was a question Miss Jackson asked, and I should be caught up. Let me just make sure. I'm sorry again if I missed anybody. I get into the flow of things and I start going. Miss Jackson said, yes, sir. Please tell about how your journey is filling out. I mean, you as a multifaceted man, aka Uncle Slick. As far as my journey now, I've never been one to want to follow the rules or bend my personal values to conform to anything. So right now it's just finding my way of expression. I love to express the way I want to express, truthfully to what I believe, what I know, and where I see things going. So as far as my journey right now, I think a lot of people don't, and I never looked at it this way. And what I want to say, I'm not just trying to sound any certain way, but the more people talk to me, I wish more people listened, or utilized the access that sometimes I offer more, because I be trying to feed for my journey and my experiences, and I guess because I'm not on TV. I guess because I'm not on TV and I'm not famous. I don't want to say I'm not successful, because there's a lot of artists that you guys listen to on the radio that I'm doing extremely better than. So I don't want to use success, but they're famous. And because I'm not famous, I think a lot of things get pushed to the segue. And it's perfectly fine. I speak for who listen. But I do wish in my journey, how I feel, I do wish a lot more people did it, because it makes me want to tone it down more, because I feel like I'm wasting my time. So it's a pursuing journey that continues. Let me go. We could be cool, rub elbows, but business is business. Support isn't free. That is true. This is Castro. I'm just reading Castro. He has to keep the lights on. Yep, I most definitely have to keep the lights on. Shout out to everybody jumping on again. Mouse, I see you. All right, I'm almost caught up to the bottom. I have another question. What kind of numbers are the labels looking for when they're looking for potential artists to sign or invest in? All right, that's a good question. Spotify and YouTube. They do look at Spotify first. Spotify is about the only, I don't say it's the only, it's most definitely the first outlet they look at. They look at your monthly listeners to see how many people continuously look at you. I might drop a record and I get 40 million listeners, right? 40 million streams on it. And then I have like 200 monthly listeners. Some people don't have that. 200 monthly listeners. They probably will sit tight to wonder, let me see what he does next, to see if it was a fluke. What the labels look for is some sort of consistency. The reason why they're looking for consistency is because, again, we look at it as a passion. We look at it as an art. But we have to understand this is a business. They're in the business of making money off music. It's a music business, right? So one way to figure out if I'm going to invest my money into a product is to see what it's doing. And I don't want to sound like I'm pro label, but I do want people to understand, once you get into this business, if you don't understand that mentality and that aspect of it, this business is going to run all over you. It's going to run all over you. So that's what they want to see. They want to see consistency in your numbers. And I tell artists, build that up. Build up your monthly listeners. Take your time in building that. Artists don't take time to building that. They don't take time in building that. If I get a monthly listener or a new one, I go and check the analytics, who that person is, where they're from. If I know them personally, I hit them up. Yo, shout out, man. Thank you, man. You know what I'm saying? To help grow that, because not only am I selling the product, I'm also building the trust into the product. I'm basically the product. If something was to happen to me right now and I'm no longer here on this earth, everything that I do stops. Therefore, I'm the factory. I produce the product. I have to get people to invest into me, not just my product, because when I'm dead and gone, whatever said product they invest into, that's it. You know what I'm saying? So there was another question. Is there a lane for writers? Most definitely. There's always a lane for writers. Publishing checks are probably one of the best checks out there. So if you're a writer and you want to get into it, it's kind of easier to get into that, because labels will take more submissions from a writer than for artists, because they could actually start incorporating their investment, who they like and who they got, and see if it correlates to what they got. So as a writer, you got a stronger chance of breaking into the industry, because they're not investing in you. They're taking your product and want to see, can I invest it in my artist? So it's much easier that way. Coffee says Spotify, Apple. They listen to a lot more Spotify. But if you have Apple numbers, it'll count. But the first thing, and I don't know if it has to do with their relationship with Spotify, and just how Spotify accumulates its analytics. It helps them a lot more. So that's why. My allergies is kicking my... Primo said, what's going on, my dude? DJ Sam said, how about when someone can produce or sing but doesn't fit the whole label, doesn't fit what the label's looking for? Find another label. You could find another label if you have that option to. If you don't fit what they have, you could also go into like the songwriting, trying to go into the songwriting, producing, selling the song out to them, and then build it from there. But I do want to say something to you. 90% of the art labels turn down some of the biggest acts. Every label turned down Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? Every label turned down Jay-Z. Do y'all know that Jim Jones from the Dipset, turned Drake down? Drake would have signed to Jim Jones. He turned him down because he felt it didn't match who he was and he didn't believe in it to the degree of where it could go. Now, it's a hard fit to see, but that just goes to show you that Drake would have signed to Jim Jones. And if you think I'm lying, go look it up. He would have signed him. Jim Jones turned it down, not Drake. So sometimes as an artist, a label might turn you down could be a better thing than them taking you. It's very intricate on how it works. You could go to the biggest label and never see the light of day, or you could go to some rinky-dink label that no one ever heard of and be the biggest star in the world. So it's really not difficult. Intricate is a word I want to say. Very intricate. Let's go. I'm just checking some of the feeds. Speak on your acting career. Ms. Jackson says, speak on my acting career. I will get into that in 1 second. Just want to make sure anything Primo said, man, I know I missed some gems. I'm most definitely going to repost this, and I'm going to chop up some of the stuff. I got another one. What are other ways to make money in the music business besides recording and touring? Love that. So, besides recording and touring, there's licensing. Licensing is a way that I make my money in music business. If you go to my Spotify right now, I don't even know how many monthly listeners I got. I don't think I have 100 monthly listeners. Probably like 20, 40. If I'm 50, I don't know. I ain't checking in a while. Streaming, there's no money in streaming. We all know that. There's no money in streaming. We also know that in a few days, Spotify will no longer be paying how they used to pay. That you have to make about 1,000 to 10,000 streams or whatever they can't keep up with what they want to change before they pay you. So licensing is a good way. Getting companies to pay you for the right to use your song in shows, movies, televisions, or tied to a product, which will be like sync licensing, and then pay you an exclusive fee. So there's records that I have that I'll give to, like, there's a company in India for a TV show called Fighting Temptations. I give them the direct access to my music, and then I make those songs private. So you can't find those songs on streaming sites or YouTube or whatever the case may be. And then I give them a licensing deal. To create the licensing deal, I need X amount of dollars. For you to maintain that, I need X amount of dollars. And then you could get creative. Every month you have to pay a licensing month fee to maintain the license. So licensing is one way that I've been able to generate money from my music that I most definitely wouldn't see from streaming. So for me, when I put out music, people are like, yo, you don't even market your music. I got a record dropping tomorrow. Called New Year. So it's going to drop tonight at midnight. I don't promote it. I did one promo like a few days ago, but I don't promote it because where I'm marketing my music isn't for sale, like how people do it. So licensing is a good way to make money from your music. Finding products, companies, TV shows, people that want to use your music and put it out there. That is one extreme great way to generate money. Coffee said, Yo, go check me out and add me respectfully. Yo, check out Coffee, man. Check him out. Dope artist. Work with him, man. He been putting in work. I watched him climb his analytics. Check him out. Primo says, that's wild. Castro said, great example. He made. Coffee said, keep pushing and never give up no matter what. That is true. There is no script. DJ Sam said that. Merch. Synchronization. Yes, synchronization is sync music is very good. And all that means is they're taking your song that might not necessarily be part of a product and they put it to a product, and as synchronizations, you create your own licensing agreement to what they want to pay. How they want to pay. There's no set standards. There's no, yo, this is norm. We pay this. No, it's my music. You want it. This is what I'm charging. You can negotiate that. Again, I do monthly fees. I do a processing fee. To even process it, there's a fee. You have to pay me every time it's being used, and then you have a monthly fee, and then you have your yearly fee. And they agree to it. There's some people like in Belgium right now. My check just came in from ASCAP that takes my records and performs them. And people are like, yo, stop them. No, I ain't stopped them. I just paid my fees. You know what I'm saying? Pay the fee. You can perform all my records. I don't mind. I'm not in Belgium. Why would I stop you from performing my records in Belgium where I'm getting a check from it? No, you continue singing it. Do your thing. Matter of fact, I got a new record, New Year. Memorize that and perform that too. You know? Spicy B said, how do you find them? If you're referring to people that sync music, this is what I do. At the end of shows, the part that people, the credits, the part that people just fast forward or they change the channel, not me. I'm like this. Looking at all that. Oh, that's who? That's music director. Okay, that's publishing. Okay, I need to know all that. And then you can reach out to them. And I'm going to be honest with you. As hard as that may seem, no one reaches out to these people. So when you reach out to them, they be like, oh, you like my music selections? Wow. Oh, you got music too? Oh, let's talk. Voila. You know what I'm saying? So if you have music and you have it geared towards a product, you might want to gear it towards that product. You know, it makes it easier, especially if it's related to that product. I won't come out with a rock song and start going to like black movies, production film companies and trying to pitch a rock song. Not saying it can't work, but what I'm just saying is you want to align your product as close to the relationship so that way you get a better chance. You know what I'm saying? And if you need more information, the cause. I'm the said way. Bet. Thank you. So that's one. Well, I think I'm caught up. Miss Jackson asked me to talk about the acting. Shout out to the ever so beautiful Eve Muse. Eve Muse and anybody who just jumped on. What we were doing today is we were having conversations and Q&A. We were talking industry talk for, the A&R Desk. The year is closing out, so we wanted to close the year out. We're just getting to the people. I know when I do the A&R Desk, it's kind of like shake and bake. We have an agenda. We sticking to it. So I just wanted to touch the people, give a few people a little insight on where I am and the opportunity to talk with me and ask questions before we close the year out and get back to work. But Miss Jackson did ask about the acting thing. I actually have a new movie that I'm gearing for next month, called The Pleasure of Guilty. I'm gonna play a 70-year-old dad, so I'm gonna get some work done. They're gonna do some work, which is cool. The acting thing was very interesting. I've always been a comedic. I always like reenacting. Eve Muse could tell you it'd be times where we gotta get ready to do something or go, and I'm in full scene. Yo, what do you mean? And I'm reenacting scenes, possibly making us late. So I took that and I started to do these. What's going on, Daryl? Shout out to Daryl. I want to stop real quick. It's real ironic that every time Eve jumps on, Daryl jumps on. Shout out to Daryl, man. This brother right here was very instrumental in past things. So shout out to Daryl, man. I'm not even gonna get too much, man. But check out the real estate from him as well if you're looking for a place, but that's the brother who actually did the photography at our wedding and DJ and hooked it all up. So shout out to him. But the acting, I started to do a thing called cinema content, a creative cinema content where I took songs and I would act scenes in the songs, and I did about 3 of them. I love creating. I'm always trying to find a different way to express myself, and I did that, and I realized that acting was something that I really liked and wanted to challenge myself into doing. I started to take it a little serious and pursue. I put up a profile, got some clips, those actual clips from Instagram. Those actual clips from Instagram. Shout out to Patricia Groves. Those exact clips from Instagram were clips that a director saw me do and asked me to read a script, do a script reading for a movie called How Are We Gonna Make It? And after I did the script reading, they say, oh, can we get on the Zoom? I got on the Zoom and they were like, yeah, listen, we want you to do it. We just had to just have you come on, but we want you to do it. And I did it. I did the movie, and then from there, during the shooting of that, The Walking Dead had a few spots for a scene for a character named Benjaro. I don't play a zombie, so I'm not gonna be like, that's me right there with the one leg limping. No, I play a character Benjaro. I don't have a speaking scene, but I play 2 scenes. It actually drops next month on The Walking Dead, and I just took it from there. Had a chance to be on the Jones, Mrs. and Mr. Jones. So the acting, it's just creative. It's a creative way of expression. I love creating, from the sneakers, from my day and my J's, to the A&R Desk, to whatever it is. Expression is something that I love doing, especially after my journey. But I want to send a big shout out to Patricia Groves, who just jumped on. Like I mentioned earlier, today, December 27th, this is actually my birthday. Not my birthday in the birth of my existence, but my birthday back into freedom. Today is the day that I actually was released from prison. So I want to send a big shout out to Ms. Groves, who's been there throughout my whole time. Not just my whole time in prison, but my whole time from 4th grade. From 4th grade to this day, she's been in my life. And when I got out, was very instrumental in making a foundation for me with and around her. So love you much, Ms. Groves. Just reflecting on today is the day that I came home. So I'm actually 15 years old in freedom. 15 years old. So everything that I've done in my pursuit that everyone sees from this day on, it's been 15 years of pursuit. It's been 15 years of a pursuit. So, and I say that to say it's been 15 years of pursuit because a lot of times we only see the reward. We only see the car, or we see the watches, and we see the walking into the labels. We see all the rewards of the time frame and not understanding the time frame. And it's a grind, y'all. It's not impossible. It don't have to take 15 years for everybody. But every day that I've been home since that day is added to my grind. So yes, it's been 15 years of pushing, and I'm still pushing. It doesn't end. It doesn't stop with the watches and the cars. And again, those are rewards down the marathon. Like when a guy's running a marathon, or a runner's running a marathon, and then someone with a chocolate bar and some water, and then you might get a power drink, Powerade down the way, and it helps you through your journey. You like, yo, I made it to another mark. And that's what those rewards are. That's what the watch is. I made it to another mark, and I could reap the benefit of my journey. I made it to another car, and you know what I'm saying. And not to sound superficial, but the luxuries come with a long, hard work, and ain't nothing wrong with a steak. There's nothing wrong with a steak when you probably ate cheese and bread or mayonnaise sandwiches. You know what I'm saying? So Again, I'm just Emu said, you run. And I'm just saying all this as a motivation to everybody on here. We all have our hardships. We all have our plights. We have our ups and our downs. We have our dreams. And when it comes to having your dreams, you can't just keep the dream here. You can't keep the dream here, y'all. You gotta take steps in it. And it's scary. And it's uncertain. And it's taking risks. And there's going to be a lot of people who don't get your dreams. There's going to be a lot of people who tell you, nah, you bugging, just get a city job or do this. And you're going to get a lot of that. You're going to get a lot of interference. And it's not interference in a bad way. You're going to get a lot. But you got to pursue it. You got to pursue your dream. And here I am. Again, this is the day that I came home from prison. December 27th. I was sentenced to life in prison. I did 13 years and I came home and I'm telling you, as a testimony, whatever your dream is, you could do it. You could do it. I got people who've never experienced, again, I've only been home. I've only been free for 15 years. So I only have 15 years of this experience. Because when I was 15, I got locked up when I was 15. I didn't have these experiences, right? And I damn sure didn't learn these experiences and this business and all this in prison, right? There was a different thing I learned in prison, which I took pieces of that. So I only have 15 years of that. And there are people who been home this whole time that asked me to look out for them. And there's people who I looked up to possibly help me when I got out. Now, like, yo, Spud, could you hook me up? And I say all this to say, like, yo, if you dedicate it, you trip, you make your falls, you get back up. That place in your head, that dream in your head, that place that people trying to stray you from, you could get there, man. You could get there. You can get there, and you could get there the way it looks. You can get there the way it looks, yo. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go back to the feed real quick. Ms. Jackson said, absolutely an amazing man. Thank you for the part of his journey. Thank you. You have to run. Eve said, I'm in a scary part right now. Coffee says, don't listen to that person telling you UPS is hiring. Don't. Straight up. No risk, no reward. Sharp said, glad that you came home, stayed out of trouble, and follow your dreams and doing well. God is good all the time. And all the time, God is good. Prayer changes everything. Yes, and I want to say, I'm gonna tap into that. The journey gets scary, but that means you're doing something right. You're right. If it ain't scary, man, if it don't feel risky, if it don't feel, you're playing it safe, and playing it safe don't get you to where you gotta go. I'm as crazy, and I'm saying take a risk. I'm not saying break a risk. You know what I'm saying? But take a risk. And when I mean take a risk, get out of your comfort zone. I took many risks. I take many risks. Lee, love you, Lee. Grateful that you kept getting back up. Most definitely. My kids motivate me. That's what keeps me pushing. And I see mad hamburgers. What I will say, man, about it being scary and taking a push, Sharp mentioning the God. I want to share something with those who you feel you out of luck. You feel like you're not even motivated. Just remember one thing. No matter what you do in life, somebody got something to say. No matter what you do. I could be outside saving the world and somebody be like, yo, he ain't never home with his kids. He always, no matter what you do in life, people will have something to say. So being that someone will always have something to say, why not do the shit you like? That's it. That's as simple as I look at life. That's as simple as I look at it. No matter what I do, someone's going to have something to say. When I came home, parole said I ruined my life. There were some family members that didn't even talk to me. There was people in my life that people would tell them stuff like, yo, you crazy for helping. There's always going to be something that's said. There's going to always be something that's said. So, with that being said, if you're going to talk about something, you're going to be talking about something I did that I like, that I want to do. That's it. I'm going to do what I want to do. So when you talk about it, I don't feel bad because this is what I want to do. And that's my advice to everybody. Do what you got to do because they're going to talk about it anyway. So why not do what you want, right? Do what you want. And if you fall, okay. The only true failure is when you stop. It's GPS mode. The destination is your goal, right? The destination is your goal. It might reroute, recalculating, right? It might recalculating. But if I stop and I park and I'm like, I ain't going. I failed. But if I go around the block, get a pothole, got to change the tire, that's just a delay. It's not a failure. So don't be fearful of recalculating. Don't be fearful if you got to park your car, jump on the bus. Don't be fearful you catch a fly, you got to get a spare. The only true failure is stopping. I ain't stopping. So I haven't failed in anything yet. There hasn't been anything that I failed in yet. And maybe the only thing I failed in was not stopping. And I'm going to fail in that every time. Because I'm going to keep going. Yes, no matter what you do, someone always have an opinion. DJ Sam said it. He also said, keep it simple. Work hard to achieve your goals, invest in yourself, and enjoy life. That is it. Before I go, I was telling my pops, and I'm going to go after this. Thank you, guys. Unless there's more questions, because this is the last A&R Desk for the year until we come back into next year. I was telling my pops this today. I was telling them about when I had a job. One of the first jobs that I had that was good, I worked for a company named Headley's Inc. And it was a London-based company. It was an art company. And I moved up the ranks pretty quick. I moved up the ranks, ended up getting my own warehouse on Montrose. That was my joint. Had my own staff. I was bubbling. And I was telling them I was making good money. I was making really good money. And I started getting comfortable with this money, right? And then I was like, I gotta get fired because I don't want to do this no more. And people are like, well, why you don't want to do this no more? You're making good money. It's secure. You got a great insurance, dental, and I was like, yo, man, like, I'm not happy with my pursuit. Like, the money's great, but I find myself just exerting a lot of energy. So I started stealing in the job. Like I was walking away with laptops on camera, and they wouldn't fire me, man. They wouldn't fire me to save my life. Like I was taking everything. I was messing up packages that had to be shipped overseas. Like, I was sabotaging everything. And they was like, yo, we are not gonna fire you. We're not gonna fire you. Until one day a package came in and I refused to sign for it. And it got real crazy. The feds came, not for me. The feds came for them and was searching their computers and stuff. And they finally sat me down and it was like, yo, what we gonna do with you? And I was like, yo, just fire me, man. Just fire me. And they fired me. And I remember I called home to my wife and I was so excited. Like, you would have thought getting fired was like getting signed to a label. I was like, babe, I got fired today. She was like, word, how you feel? And I was like, oh, man, this is crazy. This is insane, bro. I got fired. I called my pops. I was like, yo, pops, I got fired today. Like, I wanted to tell people, like, yo, I got fired, son. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't know what I had. I did have the studio at the time. And the unemployment, I wanted to get fired because I wanted unemployment. I ain't that crazy. You know what I'm saying? I ain't that crazy. I need to lose something. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to get fired. I was not quitting. They know you got to get me out of there. And I got a little unemployment, but that was a turning point in my life. And sometimes, and I'm not telling people quit their jobs, but sometimes you got to make a decision when you feel it. And if I stood in that comfort zone, I could almost say everything that I'm doing right now wouldn't be possible because I would have been looking at just the money I was making. And I'm making a lot more money now. And I didn't even think I would be making a lot more money if it was just about money. Because if I want to right now, I could make the world of money right now if I want to. But there's a lot of things and a lot of routes that making this money ain't suitable for who I am. Shout out to Fleas that just jumped on. It's not suitable to who I am and how I move. So I'm not. So I say all this to say to everybody, sometimes you got to take a risk. And sometimes that risk ain't safe. It's not comfortable. But as you take that risk, plan it. Just like I said, I had to get fired from that job. And I made sure they fired me because I needed the unemployment. I wasn't that crazy. But I knew if I stood at that job, I wasn't going to do and pursue what I was going to pursue. Let me see. Wait, you stole and got unemployed? Yes, I stole and I got unemployed. Yes, I got stole. They did not want to let me go. Nah, you crazy. Eve said, you crazy, AK Magical. Yes, I stole and I got unemployment. They didn't even want to quit. They didn't want to fire me from stealing. I didn't know what else to do. I was breaking like $1 million pieces. It was a very expensive art company. Like Swiss Beats was one of our clients. Mel Gibson, Sting, like it was high end art, and that's why I loved it. It was creative in that, but it wasn't the world of what my expression wanted to be, man. It wasn't what I wanted to do, and I could have did it just for money, and that was the most money I was making in my life. This was 2016. I got fired in 2016. I never worked for another person again. I never was employed since 2016. And I'm not saying that as in a bragging moment. I'm just saying that I didn't know that's how it was going to work. I even times got hard. And I even went to get a job. I see some questions on the bottom. I'm going to get right to that. I even went to get a job, and it was at TJ Maxx. It was at TJ Maxx. And I did the interview. I used myself as a reference. So they called me, and I was like, yeah. Eric, he's an amazing guy. I'm so sad we're going to lose him because I wasn't going to use my company. I just got fired for stealing, right? No, I didn't even get fired for stealing. I got fired because I said I wouldn't do the work no more. Crazy. But I went to TJ Maxx and I got the job. And the first day on the job, because I needed bread. And it was unsecure. Just because I got the job, I wasn't going to stop my pursuit. But the realism is I needed the money. So I was going to use that money to funnel my dreams as well as take care of my responsibility. Because if your responsibilities ain't taken care of, it's going to interfere with your dream. You got to take care of the responsibilities so you can pursue your dream. Because just pursuing your dreams, you're going to neglect that. And that's going to come back and bite you in the ass. And trust me, that bite is big. That's a big bite. So I got to the first day on the job. And they were like, listen, we're paying... I don't know what it was. It was way less than I was making at Headley's at the time. And they were like, oh, we're going to pay this amount for this amount of hours. I had no jobs. Unemployment ran out. And they said, anybody who wants to walk out now. I had 2 kids. I had to pay them the money, bills, and I stood up. And they looked at me like it was like, you quitting? Nah, it's like, yeah, I quit day one. Day one, I quit. And I walked out and I called my wife and I was like, yo, I quit. She's like, I just quit. And she was like, all right. And I was like, it didn't value who I was. And don't quit or interfere something that you got going on because of pride. If you truly value who you are, value that in the regards of, all right, I'm not going to settle for this, but I'm going to push harder for more. I'm all for that. Don't do it because, they ain't paying me nothing. And then you sit down and don't even value yourself to pursue further. So that's what I wanted to share with that, man. Again, with today being the day that I got out. I'm going to go to a few more. I see there's a few more questions, a few more stuff. I'm going to go on and then we're going to end the night, man. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Happy holidays to everybody. Sharp said, one thing I always learn in life, there's always going to be people to tell you that you'll never be anything and you'll never achieve anything, nobody. Yep, that is true. You just got to ignore them and keep pushing. People told me when I was younger I would never graduate, and I showed them, you're going to hear all that. You most definitely gonna hear all that. You're gonna most definitely hear that, and you gotta most definitely push it. And if you're like me, like I'll hear something and I don't ignore it. It echoes in my head forever, but I utilize it. I'm gonna utilize it. It's motivation. It's a push. I got told all kind of things throughout my journey that to this day I hold. There's things that loved ones that love me dearly and care for me that have said things to me that in the moment they said hurt me or made me cry or made me upset. And I know they love me, but I use that as motivation. I use that. It's something that fuels me to keep going. So sometimes you got to use that to fuel you, because it's going to be there. It's going to be there regardless. You could ignore it physically, but that echo in your head, that memory, it hangs out. So since you hanging out, you're going to get put to work. Everybody putting in work. So everything is getting added to the journey. So since you hanging out, let's utilize you. Let's utilize you. Let me see if there's any more questions, man. Sharp, those are the people that don't execute on their dreams. That's true. They miss. All right, this is the truth. This is the truth. This is the last thing I'm going to say. Again, thank everybody for hanging out with me today for this A&R Desk conversation. Sorry about that. I do have Do Not Disturb on, and I still get a phone call. But I want to thank everybody for joining with me today. I'm gonna do probably the last Wednesday of every month is gonna be the conversation and Q&A, just to be tapped in with the people and go from there. Sound says, yo, Spoke, we gotta lock in. I need an OG offering game. Like, yo, man, you got my math. We're gonna holler, man. Castro said to be truly successful, you have to be unbothered. Learn, Learn from the losses. I wouldn't say you have to be unbothered, but you can't let it bother you to the point where you alter your movements. Let's be all truthful. Let's be all truthful. And I keep saying this is the last thing, but we're having a great conversation. Let's be truthful. Even constructive criticism bothers us. I don't care who you are. Oh, yeah, I love constructive criticism. Yeah, you love it, but it bothers you. Let's keep it real. It all bothers you. But you can't let it alter you. You can't. That's the problem. You can't let it alter you in your movements. Let it bother you. But if it fuels you, let it fuel you so that way you do what you got to do to maximize your goal. And I think I'm going to leave y'all with that. I was going to go somewhere else with it, but I think I'm going to leave y'all with that. He said the poker face, though. I mean, yes. Keep the poker face. Keep the poker face. I hear a lot of stuff that I disagree with. You know what I say? Word. Feel you, bro. I dig it. And as soon as I dig it, I dig it. But I ain't the one who dug it. You heard? It ain't going down that way. So sometimes you just gotta let it go. But again, shout out to everybody. Check us out. If you're new to the live, the A&R Desk, where we bring A&Ring right directly to your phone. Is on Wednesdays, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. We have competitions. We have money, cash rewards. We have opportunity rewards where there will be, and I don't know, almost there's going to be a label that's really willing to do this. So we're going to be walking someone into a record label. We're going to bring in some A&Rs. We're going to bring in some business people to have this conversation with. I'm going to be bringing on Sincere in and out again some more. We got some interviews going on. Yo, Coffee, we're going to set up that interview all day, my dude. We set up that interview. Happy holidays to everyone. Be safe out there. Be creative. Be passionate. And take that risk. You know what I'm saying? Be what you could be what you want to be. And be that thing you be. Shout out to everybody, man. See y'all next week. Happy holidays. Be safe. I'm out. Peace.